All microphones are on mute. Good evening, and welcome to the East Ramapo Central School District's 2020-2021 proposed budget hearing. I am Deborah Wortham, Superintendent, and it is my pleasure to present this budget to you this evening with the support of Mr. Walter Patchy, our Assistant Superintendent for Finance. Our mission and vision really orchestrates the work that we do. I'm grateful to the community for putting in place our mission statement during the summer of 2015. This mission statement has been guiding our work, the mission for the East Ramapo Central School District. As a unified community, the East Ramapo Central School District is committed to educating the whole child by providing a healthy, safe, supportive, engaging, and challenging learning environment. In like manner, our vision statement, we will become proficient in all that we do. And our 5-point plan that has been driving us since 2015-16 or the 16-17 school year. We want staff and students who are healthy, safe, supported, engaged, and challenged. Our $3 million supplemental funding. Our budget is comprised of two components, actually rolled into one. The $3 million supplemental funding was put in place due to the aspirational budget that we identified in the spring of 2016. We absolutely recognize the need for full-day kindergarten and a restoration of the arts. Upon my arrival in the district, parents made it very clear to me their desire, and rightfully so, research-based, the merits of full-day kindergarten and the arts. We put forth an aspirational budget, and that budget actually made a request for $6 million. With the support of our legislators and our community leaders, we were able to receive $3 million. Our legislators each put in $1 million, Senator Carlucci, as well as Assemblywoman Jaffe and Assemblyman Zabrowski, and then the governor, $1 million. That makes up the $3 million. That's the funding stream of this $3 million grant. With those funds, we were able to pay for the salaries of 9 monolingual teachers and 4 bilingual teachers. That also covers their benefits. In addition, we have, through this $3 million, $1.7 million is dedicated to 10 music teachers and 9 art teachers, as well as their benefits. Just think, in 2015, we had 14 teachers of the arts. Today, we have 45. We are grateful for the support of our legislators for making this happen. That's our $3 million supplemental funding. This is the plan for 2021. Our tax levy, the total amount that a school district collects from property owners to balance its budget. The levy is determined after accounting for all other sources of income, including state aid. The tax cap maximum does not exceed the New York State maximum allowable cap. The statewide allowable tax levy increase is calculated by the State Comptroller's Office. You will note in the 2020-2021 budget and tax levy increases, proposed budget expenses, the increase, 2.72%. The proposed tax levy is 1.3%. During our presentations, you will notice that we started at 1.8%, and today we are coming to you with 1.3%. Mr. Patchy?
Thank you, Dr. Wortham. As you said, we started at 1.81%, and your budget foresees a 1.3% increase in tax levy, and that is to be sensitive to the unusual circumstances that all the taxpayers of our district, as around the entire New York State, are facing. So with that 1.3%, on the next slide, we will show that the proposed tax levy amount will stand at $156,498,600. That is below the levy limit of the $159,403,523. And that increase in tax levy is $2,008,373. So year to year, that consists into a 1.3% increase. On our revenue, as we have shared in the past, the next important item is the state aid. And we have here the numbers that we know from the legislator. And together with other pieces of revenues, the entire amount of the revenues, as we see on the two slides from here, one more, will come to $247,753,226. As we shared on the last board meeting, we have made use of the fund balance at the amount of $787,900, given the hardship circumstances that are affecting our taxpayers, with the aim of replenishing this amount as soon as the next fiscal year starts, which is on July 1st, 2020. In terms of our expenses, again, we keep emphasizing that it's instruction without benefits, and that's where we put almost 52% of our funding. It goes directly to the classrooms. The next cost areas are employee benefits that encompasses pensions and health insurance to the 99%, and then you have workers' compensation and a few other things. But the third one is the transportation at 15.78%. We should keep in mind that we are the second largest district in terms of the number of students transported, with close to above the 37,000 students, both in public and non-public schools. The debt service, again, stands at $5,361,448. Again, it's very small share in our budget at 2.16%. And there is an increase from year to year, and that is due to the fact that next year we will now have to pay the entire mortgage or debt service on the 2016 voter approved $59 million bond plan. We like to say in here that the refinancing of the debt, of part of the debt of roughly 32 million, happened in March 19, 2020, one day after the New York State went to a pause with a tremendous turmoil in the market. And even on those circumstances, when several entities had to cancel because they could not borrow money, we received one bid. We were expecting more than three, but at that time, the situation got very dire. And that bid came for a 27-year. In other words, that bid that we received was not to be 15-year long as expected, but it came to be 27-year long. In other words, it will mature in year 2047 instead of the year 2036. Why we're saying that? It's important to know that in year 2036, if everything doesn't change from now, it's hard to foresee the 2036, but if nothing else changes, the tax levy limit in year 2036 could be a bit higher than what we forecasted in 2016. However, that can be mitigated because during years 2020, 2036, the district will receive a larger than expected building aid amount, which then can be saved for the year 2037 to pay for that, to adjust for that increase on tax levy limit on that year. Again, it's simply a hypothetical, theoretical question, assuming that nothing changes in the district, and that has to do with the limit, not with the taxes. As you see, we tax below the tax limit, so that's something that does not affect the taxpayers unless everything keeps the same and the limit and the district on 2036 taxes on the limit. On the next slide, we show the change to change. There's been a question again on the transportation and the debt service, when increases, they both reflect, the first one reflect a tremendous increase on the enrollment, as well as inflationary factor there. And the debt service simply reflects the fact that now we have to pay for the entire bond, which has gone to very good use, because now we have instead of leaking roofs and non-working boilers and air ventilators, now our facilities are at 97% upgraded and adequate for the educational process. So the budget is balanced. It stands at $247,753,226. Now, Dr. Wortham, in terms of the contingency budget.
Yes, under a contingency budget, the district's tax levy for 2020-2021 must be the same or less than the tax levy for 2019-2020, a 0% increase. For our district, this means a decrease of $2 million in tax levy revenues. A contingency budget funds only teachers' salaries and those items the board determines to be ordinary contingent expenses. Ordinary contingent expenses have been defined under law to include legal obligations, expenditures specifically authorized by statute, and other items necessary to maintain the educational program, preserve property, and ensure the health and safety of the students and staff. At this time, I will ask the board if they have questions.
Yes, Dr. Wortham. If I understood correctly from the last meeting, in the current year, the district has experienced savings due to the situation that we're in, and the expenses have not been as high as expected. But would it be accurate to say that the plan is looking forward to the future is, number one, we don't know what the state aid will be. So some of those savings we need to account for if there's a cut in state aid, and we know that that discussion is taking place in Albany. And then part of it is being given back to the taxpayers by reducing the amount of the tax increase.
Dr. Wortham, can I?
Yes, I think Mr. Grossman asked a question and answered it as well.
I was asking, is that correct?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Yes. To your two questions, Mr. Grossman, the answer is yes. We have experienced savings. They are not really savings because they will go back on lack of state aids, and also savings to what we think to cover that, replenish that fund balance for that amount. That decrease from 1.81% to 1.3% was not out of thin air, was a assessed, planned decrease that reflects that everyone understand the unusual situation that the taxpayers are going through these times, like in the entire New York State.
If hypothetically there was no cut in state aid, that Washington produced money for the states in order to cover the educational expenses, and we didn't experience a cut in state aid, could we envision going into next year that part of that bucket, if you will, would be used to offset the decrease in aid due to not having the expenses this year, and the rest of it could be allocated to reducing the tax rate in the future as well?
Correct. I mean, that's the whole thing in here. I mean, if that happens, but remember that also the transportation state aid will be lower next year, so that goes to replenish that too.
Right.
But Mr. Patchy, don't forget positions being frozen.
Yes, Dr. Ward, absolutely,
Yep.
I forgot. You're absolutely correct. We have frozen 11 positions, and this was to make up the first $1 million cut.
Okay.
If we go back to a month ago, we had the state. First of all, the state aid was decreased by because governor decided to fix the state aid into last year numbers, and that was a close to $1 million hit for the district. And we covered that first step using freezing 11 positions. So that's another issue that, especially as we see how our enrollment will evolve in the next 2 months, that's become important to make sure that we do provide the right education in all our schools, especially in these very difficult times.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if there are no more questions, then we will conclude the budget hearing for the 2020-2021 school year and move into the board meeting. Mr. Grossman, for your opening and call to order.
Excuse me, Dr. Wortham, we had one comment for the budget hearing that was emailed in.
All right.
All right, it is from Kelman Weber. And his comment was, because of COVID-19, many people in our community lost their jobs and have problems paying their mortgage. Others have not worked for many months and cannot even afford food for the family. What we need now is at least a 5% cut in the budget. Any increase in the budget will probably go down to defeat. Sincerely, Kelman Weber.
Thank you, Ms. Keeving. And now?
Give me one moment while I pull up the agenda.
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Grossman,
Yes.
let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
Call to order.
I call to order the regular meeting of the East Ramapo Central School District Board. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
under
God,
indivisible.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, do we have any public comments submitted?
Yes, we have one, Mr. Grossman.
In that case, I'll make a motion for public comment to take place in the mode that we've established for these Zoom meetings with the district clerk presenting it. Do I have a second?
I'll second Mr. Trieger.
Second by Mr. Trieger. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Kathy.
This comment is from Terry Mersell. Good evening, Dr. Wortham and Board of Education members. Thank you to everyone who worked diligently this year, bringing our tax levy down to 1.3%. East Ramapo Central School District is the largest school district in Rockland County, and we have one of the lowest increases for a budget this year. I did my homework. My school taxes with this increase should be $63.22. As all of us do, I will also get a star rebate. Last year, out of 700 school districts in New York State, East Ramapo Central School District was one of 3 school districts whose budget didn't pass. It is time to show the other 699 school districts that we can come together as one and support this small increase for the sake of all of our students, as well as our residents who believe in education. Thank you for your consideration in this important matter that is very close to my heart. Be well and stay safe, Terry Mersell.
Thank you. Moving on, superintendent's presentation. I know we have a short one.
Right now, the election update from Kathy Keevy, our district clerk.
Thank you, Dr. Wortham. Just to refresh everyone, school elections for all school districts in New York State were adjourned and postponed in compliance with the governor's executive orders as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. His subsequent executive orders set the budget vote and election date for Tuesday, June 9, 2020. The governor required that this be an all absentee ballot vote with districts providing postage paid return envelopes. And while it has been pointed out, this might be the latest calendar date in recent history for the board to adopt the budget and hold a vote, the election timetables are all determined from the election date itself, which the governor set for June 9th. Last week, the district adopted the budget, and that was actually prior to the state deadline of May 21st. Our budget public hearing tonight is the earliest date allowed by New York this year, which is 7 to 14 days before the vote. And as I reported last week, the district and many of the people helping us to get the budget vote out have been working nonstop since the governor's executive order. The postcard to inform voters of the revised date of June 9th and that it is an all absentee ballot voting was mailed last Friday. Some people have confirmed they received their postcards in the mail today. And if you didn't get it today, the post office should be getting it to you tomorrow. The absentee ballot packet, which is an envelope being mailed to the voter, an oath envelope for them to sign and return in the postage paid return envelope, are scheduled to mail out by the end of the week. The printer is working on them as we meet tonight, and it will go to all known eligible voters in the school district. Registration information is on our website. If you go to www.ercsd.org/budget vote, it will take you right to the page with our vote information. It includes a link where voters can check to see if they are registered. You must be registered to vote. Qualified voters are U.S. citizens, 18 years of age, and a resident of the district for at least 30 days before the vote. Voters can email the registration form back to the district. And in addition, we are having one in-person voter registration this Thursday, May 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. outside the main entrance door of the administration building at 105 South Madison Avenue, Spring Valley. Voters must wear a mask if they want to come to register. This is the last date to register to ensure there's time to mail out the ballots back and receive them. If you voted in last year's or recent year's school votes or the federal elections, you will be registered and you will have your ballot coming to you in the mail. Counting the ballots will begin at 5 p.m. on June 9th, 2020, and any ballot that is mailed back to the district and received by 5 p.m. on June 9th will be counted. Counting will continue until it is complete. The time to complete that count is dependent on the number of ballots returned. And again, just one more emphasis. In compliance with the governor's executive order, all ballots must be mailed back and must be received by the district clerk's office by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 9th to be counted. So when it comes in the mail, I urge all voters to fill it out and return it immediately. Thank you, Dr. Wortham.
Thank you, Ms. Keevy, and thank you for the fine job that you do. At this time, I would like to have a discussion or just information about our middle school promotion and our high school graduation. There has been a lot of planning because we intend to celebrate the class of 2020. We are very proud of our young people and their accomplishments. This evening, I am asking Ms. Natisha McVeigh to speak about the middle school promotion and Dr. Augustina West to speak about the high school graduation, both assistant superintendents, Ms. McVeigh, assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, K-8, and following Dr. Augustina West, the interim assistant superintendent for secondary schools. Ms. McVeigh.
Yes, good evening. In alignment with our senior class, our middle schools are planning a thoughtful celebration of promoted 8th graders as they transition to high school. Information is currently being shared with Herth Jones to support the production of virtual ceremonies. An hour in duration, ceremonies will encompass segments that celebrate the promoted class through an address from administration, as well as recognition of the talents and accomplishments of our students. Our middle school principals and staff are working to provide an experience to remember. The date of the 8th grade virtual promotion remains June 26th. The time and the link will be posted on each school's homepage. It is our hope that those who are invited and have the time to celebrate with our students will tune in. Please look forward to that information coming in the weeks to come. At this time, I'm going to introduce Dr. West as she provides updates related to our senior graduation. Dr. West.
Thank you, Ms. McVeigh. While our seniors are continuing with their learning and finalizing assignments, we are planning a whirlwind of celebrations because we are so proud of them, as Dr. Wortham stated. We have the virtual graduation, which will take place on Sunday, June 28th. Stay tuned for the time. Please, parents and students, we ask that you pay very close attention to the robocalls, telephone calls, emails that will be coming from the school buildings to you, because it pertains pertinent information. It's time-sensitive information that has to be turned into Herth Jones so that the virtual graduation will be on a platform that you will never forget. We are planning an in-person graduation at a later date and time. We are also so happy that the Village of Spring Valley is going to display banners with the reflection of senior class members from the class of 2020 all along North Main Street. We thank Mayor Simon and the Village of Spring Valley. In addition, we thank the first responders who are going to display on their electronic boards outside of their establishments a congratulatory sign for our class of 2020. Store owners, we thank you for putting in your storefront windows our congratulations to the class of 2020. Class of 2020, again, there's so much love from the community, the board, the superintendent, and all. We salute you, we're proud of you, and we can't wait till June 28th to shout it loud. Back to you, Dr. West.
Dr. West, will you confirm our participation in the Congers?
Yes. And as in addition, East Ramapo Central School District has collaborated in a joint venture with the town of Clarkstown, where we're going to have banners displayed in Congress Memorial Park with all the images of our students from both high schools and their names to be displayed in their pavilion for families to go and take pictures and see the class of 2020.
Thank you, Dr. West. Thank you, Ms. McVeigh. I'm really excited about the celebrations, especially the invitation extended to us by Supervisor Holman to join all of the districts in Rockland County to come together. At such a time as this, what a beautiful opportunity to all come together. So we are grateful. Class of 2020, walk with your heads held high. This is one tassel you will never, ever, ever forget. With that,
Dr. Wortham, it's Sabrina. I'm sorry. I just have a question.
yes,
Is there any plans for a moving up ceremony for kindergarten, third grade, and the sixth graders?
I'm going to go back to Ms. McVeigh. What the message was to continue the celebrations that we are accustomed to, but to put it in with a virtual understanding.
At our lower levels, each of our school sites are currently working on planning a recognition for our young people as they transition up to from primary grades into elementary school. We are looking to, while they will be diverse at each site, we're looking to make sure that we do have some form of a celebration for our youngsters.
Thank you, Ms. McVeigh. And Ms. Sabrina Charles-Pierre, we have taken your recommendation as well, your idea, and that is to place the names of all of our seniors in both high schools, to place their names on a plaque. We know that posters will fade away with time, but we are placing nameplates on a plaque in each high school so that we will forever remember the members of the class of 2020.
Thank you.
And that concludes the superintendent's report. Back to you, Mr. Grossman.
Thank you, Dr. Wortham. Moving on, consent agenda items. We have items 1 through 5. If you're moving for the motion or seconding, please announce who you are for the sake of accurate record keeping by the district clerk. Do I have a motion for consent agenda items 1 through 5?
Mark, I move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Joel Freilich, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are
Aye.
there any nays or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Action items from the board. This one's very exciting because number 4 is well earned and well deserved. Do I have a motion for action items from the board 1 through 4?
Can I just, I'll move, but I'll ask a question of Dr. Wortham if possible.
After it's seconded,
Okay,
then we have
sorry.
discussion.
I'll move.
Okay, moved by Mr. Freilich. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Sorry, you sleep, you snooze, you lose. All in favor, discussion, Joel.
Dr. Wortham, can you read Ashley and my letters out loud, or is that privileged?
Would you give me the opportunity to read it at the next board meeting?
Of course.
I could read your letters in just a minute, if you give me a minute to.
Sure, sorry for springing this on you.
Are you sure? You sure?
Yes.
Yes, you could read mine. I would love if you could find the time to.
I will. Let's see. Here it is for.
Harry, while she's looking for it, can you explain what number 4 is to the people who are watching?
Let me read the resolution, and I really think it's self-explanatory. Motion that the Board of Education of the East Ramapo Central School District is nominating Sabrina Charles Pierre for the Everett R. Dyer Award for Distinguished School Board Service. We all know everything that Sabrina does, including during this pandemic, giving out the Chromebooks. Wherever there's a need, she's whoever's got background noise, please mute it. Front and center. While we work on a 24-hour day, she obviously seems to function on a 48-hour day with, I don't know how she has the time to do everything that she does. And as I said, it's a well-deserved and well-earned recognition. And while it's just a nomination, I have no doubt that she will be successful and win.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Don't thank me. You're the one who did all the work. Should I talk longer, Dr. Wortham?
I think that would be a great idea. For some reason, it doesn't want.
Or we could just read the letters at the next meeting. But
it would be a great idea to read the letters. And I have this letter ready to read, and I can read this one. Dear Mr. Longo, it is an honor to write this letter of recommendation on behalf of Ms. Sabrina Charles Pierre, Vice President of the East Ramapo Central School District's Board of Education. There's a lot to be said about Ms. Charles Pierre. Sabrina embodies the true definition of leadership, selflessness, compassion, commitment, and unity. Before my elected position as a board member to the East Ramapo Central School District in July of 2019, I had already known who Ms. Charles Pierre was. Her reputation had preceded her, and the opportunity to learn to speak with her was extraordinary. If I were to begin my journey as a new board member, I wanted to learn from Ms. Charles Pierre, and she didn't disappoint. She immediately took me under her wing and has made me feel instantly at ease. I have witnessed Ms. Charles Pierre's commitment. I have witnessed Ms. Charles Pierre commit herself tirelessly to this rewarding position. Regardless of the time of day, Ms. Charles Pierre has extended herself to meet any needs or concerns I have, with guidance and advice to assist. Most importantly, Ms. Sabrina Charles Pierre offers comfort, familiarity, pride, and consistency within her community. Everyone knows who Ms. Charles Pierre is. She makes it her duty to attend all school functions, build relationships with community members, students, faculty, and administration, all alike. She is not just a role model to me, but to the students she represents within this beautiful district. Ms. Charles Pierre is a trusted face to both students and parents, and there is an ease that comes across their faces when Ms. Charles Pierre enters the room. Vice President Sabrina Charles Pierre is well deserving of this prestigious award and more to come. She has exhibited outstanding dedication to the students of East Ramapo Central School District and the surrounding community. Sincerely and humbly submitted, Ashley Lavelle, trustee. And now
Thank you, Ashley.
I will.
You're welcome.
endeavor to find the letter from Mr. Joel. Let's see. Oh, I know. Okay. Here we are. And for some reason, it is not opening up. I cannot get it to open, Mr. Freeland.
It's fine. After Ashley's letter, it looks like Charles wrote it, so I think we can skip mine.
I really want your letter to be read, but had I had just a little notice, I could have opened it, but my at-home computer is like a Trojan. And
Okay.
so
Fine.
if we keep going in the meeting,
I can actually send it to you on your phone if you want.
okay, it is just not opening up for me. Let me just try one more time. Here it is. Okay. Dear Mr. Longo, it gives me great pleasure to tender this letter of recommendation on behalf of Ms. Sabrina Charles Pierre, a second-term board member. As a member of the East Ramapo Central School District's Board of Education, I strongly recommend the inimitable Sabrina Charles Pierre as the ideal recipient of the prestigious Everett R. Dyer Award. Aside from the fact that Ms. Charles Pierre and I share a birthday, March 14th, Pi Day, I have been amazed by Sabrina's dedication to the well-being of the school children in our district. Her children attend the East Ramapo Central School District, but Sabrina acts as if all students of the district are her children. She is always, she is always preoccupied with the affairs of the district, attending New York State School Boards Association conferences and professional development sessions, celebrations, graduations, community meetings, distributing Chromebooks nonetheless, serving as a photographer and concession stand, advocating for students, hosting student-led forums, attending plays, programs, creating videos, just to name a few. I sometimes have an inferiority complex when I compare myself to Ms. Charles Pierre. As is well known, East Ramapo Central School District is an incredibly diverse district. Sabrina has navigated the tricky waters with expertise and a constant smile. She is beloved by all public and private school students and parents alike. I am proud to call myself a colleague and, most importantly, a friend of Sabrina Charles Pierre. I hope you will honor her and her work for this district. Very truly yours, Joel Froelich, trustee. And I have
Thank you,
to
Mr.
say,
Froelich.
Sure. I mean,
When-
Dr. Wortham forced me to write it, so I don't have a choice.
But when I read your letter and Miss Ashley Bell's letter, it brought tears, because I usually sit next to Miss Charles Pierre at all of these events, and it's just amazing. And sometimes I'll say to her, if you get there before me, save a seat. But the purpose of this award is to encourage other board members to be like that board member that's being nominated. And as I read the two letters, I thought, This is what the award is about. This is how we do it. So congratulations in advance. And I have to say that the superintendent also had to write a letter for the recognition for Miss Sabrina Charles Pierre. My letter is absolutely 3 pages long, and so maybe I will save that for another time. But it was an honor to shower you in this manner, Miss Sabrina Charles Pierre. And I hope you take every syllable that your colleagues said to you and magnify it 100 times. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Kind of brought tears to my eyes too, speechless. I appreciate the nomination, and I just hope we can all continue to work together for all students and, continue to move forward.
Can I just read this last part, Mr. Grossman? I won't read the whole thing, but I'll just start with this part.
Go ahead, Dr. Wortham.
Thank you, sir. The COVID-19 pandemic initiated a language and academic lifestyle currently defined as the new normal. Our teaching staff mellifluously flowed into teaching and learning remotely with an ever-abiding level of accountability. How was this possible? Well, Ms. Charles Pierre rallied community members to volunteer to distribute over 400 Chromebooks, problem solving to keep everyone safe. She altered, literally, the district's distribution plan and engineered a process all her own that included shopping for personalized pens. We still owe her $135 to sign the confirmation forms, provided gloves and masks, scheduled and organized buses for loading and distributing the devices from the buses at various schools. Finally, at the end of each day during the 3-week process, or was it 4, she submitted a report that included successes and feedback. Ms. Charles Pierre is an advocate for our children. And the last paragraph, I'll skip down. At her core, Sabrina Charles Pierre is a visionary leader with ambitions for a future that involves providing service and support to children. To date, she continues to embody a servant leadership style that influences and impacts other board members to change lives. To that end, it is my esteemed honor to recommend Ms. Sabrina Charles Pierre for the New York State School Boards Association's Everett R. Dyer Award for Distinguished School Board Service. Sincerely, Dr. Deborah Wortham, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Wortham. Appreciate you.
Oh, I didn't put in there the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning talks. I forgot that. All right. Mr. Grossman.
Okay, we already have the motion and the second for items 1 through 4. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition or abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Action items from the superintendent. We have items 1 through 8. Do I have a motion for action items from the superintendent?
Yes, the Brian White Randall.
Okay, that's moved. Do I have a second?
Second, Sabrina Charles Pierre.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions or nays? Hearing none,
Discussion.
motion passes.
Discussion. I tried to do discussion.
Oh, I didn't hear you, sorry.
Discussion. On number 4. Number 3. I'm just curious if we're tied, when we do this, are we tied down to an amount? I mean, right now, paper goods are running triple or more than they were a few months ago. I would hope that sometime into next school year, the price will drop down to normal. Are we locked into a very high price now? I mean, I go through this every day in my business, but you know, something was $10 a case, now $100 a case.
Mr. Patchy?
That is the price determined by the bid at this point in time.
Excuse me?
That is the price that is determined by the bid. It's a bid and we cannot change the price.
But we can reject the bid. How desperate are we for paper towels now, especially since the schools have been closed for months, and I'm sure we had some kind of backlog.
We certainly need. I mean, we don't have clarity when we will open, but we certainly need paper towel. It's a everyday use item.
You have to have people there to use them. My question is, do we have a stock in our warehouse of paper towels that will hold us for a month or something after school starts, in which case we can put out a bid then when I think the price is going to be much, much lower.
I would say that the stock is not that high because we have been, while we've been online, our custodian teams have been at the schools and maintaining and cleaning. So I would say that the saving is not what we might perceive in terms of usage of the paper towel.
I think I'd like clarity on that, and we hold it until the next meeting so someone can tell us where we're holding on this.
Can I ask Mr. Obi Efetabo to please turn on your mic?
Yes, Dr. Wortham. Yes, as Mr. Pachi said, we do not stock a lot of paper goods. We utilize what you might consider just-in-time purchases, so we don't tie up stock over time. And given the nature of the situation we're in right now with the COVID, hand washing and paper towels are critical to the hygiene requirements of the protocol that's established. So I will say that we will need to allow this order to go forward.
Can we, does this have to be for an entire year, or can we make it a shorter?
Oh no, this is not for the entire, the order is not for the entire year.
No, I'm not saying that, no, I'm talking about the contract. Is it a contract for a year, or can we make it a 4-month contract or a 5-month contract subject to renewal or extension?
We do them on an annual basis, Mr. Berkowitz.
Okay.
That's how the bid was conceived. I mean,
there's no reason
on an annual basis.
Mr. Patrick, respectfully to Mr. Berkowitz's point, there's no reason why we can't go back and tell them we're not signing a year contract at these rates.
We will have to either we will have to run a new bid because it's a bid that cannot be negotiated.
And let's do that. These numbers are atrocious.
That's what we had a year ago.
Is there a state bid out on this?
Pardon me?
I know we joined in with state bids. Is there a state bid out on this that we checked into?
These are bids. It's a public bid, and we take those bidders that apply. It's not that we, in other words, the bidders have to choose to apply. We promote, but in the end of the day, the bidders will have to submit the bid.
Again, doesn't the state, or it's maybe I'm an old timer, doesn't the state put out bids on these and we have an opportunity to join in a state bid?
We certainly have, if provided that the state bid numbers are lower than, if we judge that the state, if we judge that the state contract have a lower price that we might believe we might achieve by doing the bid.
Do we check into that every bid?
We always do when we do the bids, but bids are on a 3-year, are run on a 3-year basis with a subject to obviously to board renewal on an annual basis.
Mr. Pachi, did you say that this amount that this bid is the same as last year this time?
Yes, it is stuck on that number. Yes, that's correct.
Interesting.
So the $11.89 is the same bid as
Right.
it was last year.
Right. If we choose to renew it, yes.
Okay.
Then take it. 11 days, I'll buy it from you too, at that price. You have no idea what the price is now.
It's right now, bidding is completely, I mean, the pricing on, especially on cleaning supplies, the market is very much distorted in terms of what you get and who bids. We have been, in terms of thinking ahead, in terms of the COVID-19 supplies, we have been working with BOCES together with other districts in the county by creating a COSER, by pooling all our resources with the other school districts, so that then BOCES will run the bids for those COVID-19 supplies, and hopefully we get aid on that process. Because if we go just alone, especially on COVID-19 supplies, the market is very brutal. So that's what we've been doing the last 3 weeks or so, actually. I'm talking about the masks, the cleaning supplies, the disinfectants, and so on. And the good thing is that by going through BOCES and pooling the supplies, we become a bigger buyer as a county, which could bring savings. Plus, hopefully, we get state on those purchases, state aid.
Any other questions? Okay, we already have the motion and the second. We had the vote, but I didn't see the desire for discussion. We'll do a revote. All in favor of items 1 through 8, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion passes. Information and reports from the board. Seeing none this evening, we'll move on to future meeting dates. A meeting is scheduled for June 9th, the day of the election. That meeting will be held once again via Zoom. Will be held via Zoom. That meeting though is scheduled for 9 p.m., not at 7:30. So please note the change in time. Executive session.
Yes, Mr. Grossman. Items to consider: receive legal advice from counsel regarding the NAACP, the ERCSD court case and recent decision, and for discussion of a possible settlement for a special education matter. And we anticipate it's possible there will be motions when we return from executive session.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go to executive session to discuss the items as delineated by the district clerk?
I'll move, Mark.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Joel Freilich.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions or nays? Hearing none, motion passes. As the district clerk indicated, there very well might be resolutions coming out of executive session. If you'd like to stay around, please do. If not, have a very good evening. Thank you.
Kathy, Carol's on her way to dial in. Kathy, Carol's on her way to dial in.
Harry's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Douglas, I didn't know you were the one sending out the ballot.
I just requested my absentee ballot for my primary election. Whoever's beating that child, please stop. Yeah.
Where's your starting right here?
Effie, you need to mute yourself, Effie. Ashley, Harry, Ashley, Stephanie. That must be Carol.
I think we're missing Yehuda. Yehuda said he wanted to join. I don't know where he got lost.
You might be looking for the link from before.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, quorum.
Okay.
I just, it's Kathy. I just re-emailed the link to Yehuda in case that's what the issue is.
Thank you, Kathy. We'll give him a couple of minutes. Okay. I call this meeting to order. Kathy, I believe we have a couple of resolutions.
Yes. Just give me a half a second. Okay. The first matter is the special ed. And the motion is, be it resolved, the Board of Education adopts the following resolution. Whereas the parents of a student with a disability brought a due process complaint against the East Ramapo Central School District, challenging the Committee on Special Education's recommendation regarding the student's individualized education program. And whereas the Board of Education concluded that resolution of the complaint is in the school district's best interest. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the settlement agreement is approved and the superintendent of schools and president of the Board of Education are authorized to execute the agreement.
Okay, do I have a motion for the resolution as read by the district clerk?
I'll move Joel Fryland.
Okay, do I have a second?
I will second. Ephraim Weisslandel.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Are there any nays? I'm abstaining, Kathy.
Yes.
Next.
Okay. Shuffling papers. A resolution authorizing appeal of federal case. Whereas the district is party to litigation in federal court, NAACP et al., the East Ramapo Central School District, number CV-0894-CS-JCM, and whereas the district received the decision by the Federal District Court for the Southern District in the above referenced case on May 26, 2020, decision, which included a ruling against the district, and whereas the board believes the district is contrary to the interests of the district and the voters of the district. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the East Ramapo Central School District hereby, 1, authorize seeking a stay of the decision from the district court and or to the appropriate appellate court, namely the district court and or the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And 2, authorizes and approves all further appeals of the decision to the district court and or the Second Circuit Court of Appeal. And 3, authorizes counsel for the district to pursue the above referenced appeals and payment of costs and fees associated with same. And 4, authorizes counsel for the district, the superintendent of schools, and or the board president to execute any and all forms and documents to enable the retention of consultant support to prepare a remedial plan as directed by the decision. And 5, authorizes superintendent of schools, Dr. Deborah L. Wortham, and or the board president to execute any and all forms and documents to enable the above mentioned appeals to be filed and proceed.
Okay, do I have a motion for the resolution as read by the district clerk? Who said that?
Mr. Trigger, the old Trigger.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Mark.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Nays?
Here, Carol Anderson, no.
Ashley Lavelle, nay.
Sabrina, no.
And any abstentions? No abstentions.
Mr. Grossman, I just want to say back what I have for nays is Carol, Ashley, and Sabrina. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
That's 5-3. Motion passes. Kathy, on the main part of the meeting, I omitted the written communications. Were there any written communications during since the past meeting?
There has been no written communications received for the board since the last meeting.
Okay. In that case, are there any more resolutions for this evening? No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. In that case, I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
I will second. I'll second. Oh, okay. Effie's call.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition or nays? I didn't think so. Meeting adjourned. Next meeting.
Excuse me, I missed who seconded that motion to adjourn. I'm sorry.
Effie Weismandel.
Thank you very much.
Next meeting, once again, is June 9th at 9 p.m. Have a good evening, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.